thought I'd start off by telling you a bit more about me and the work that I do. Journaling is simply writing to and for yourself. Oh, sorry, I need to go to the next slide. Journaling is simply writing to and for yourself. There are different types of journaling with different purposes and structures. It is basically a type of writing that you do for yourself to make yourself feel better, and when used strategically can help you achieve significant shifts in mindset, energy, mental health, and more. It can include simply keeping a diary or writing about your memories, but also writing letters that you do not send for the purpose of expressing feelings and finding understanding. Sorry, I'm just going to take a drink. I've got a very dry throat. Hi, Ali. Thanks for calling from Southampton. I've always liked to write as a child, but somehow over the years I lost touch with my creativity until I had a health crisis at 23. I had a breakdown, and then it seemed important to get back in touch with my creativity. I started off writing 3 pages of stream of consciousness writing, a practice I was introduced to by the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and that really helped me to get in touch with my feelings. Over the years, I've experimented with different techniques, and at the moment, my favourite technique is the inner wisdom dialogue, where you dialogue with your inner self to get answers. Hi Tash, calling from Australia. When I discovered the field of therapeutic writing late last year, I was excited because that's what I've been doing for years without realising it. I discovered the Centre of Journal Therapy. Sorry, I've just realised I've not gone on to the next slide, so let me do that just now. Here we go. Will you just give me 1 minute? I discovered the Centre for Journal Therapy as a course to help people teach journaling techniques. I knew it was something I wanted to share with others. I'd previously been a teacher of English as a foreign language and a copywriter, and it seemed like the perfect way to combine my love of writing with teaching and running a business. Today I work online with entrepreneurs as a journal facilitator, and I'm shortly going to be offering journal coaching. I run a 30-day journaling challenge and a 12-week program called Journal to the Self, which introduces 18 different journaling techniques, but I'll tell you more about that later. I also work in the community running in-person workshops, so I don't want to spend the whole webinar. Thanks, Tash. Tash has done the 30-day writing journaling challenge and is actually a case study, so you can find that on the blog. I'll just type in where to find the blog. Okay, so I think there's actually another post above it, but you'll see it when you go into the blog. Thank you. Thanks, Tash. Thanks for agreeing to do that. That was great. So I don't want to spend the whole workshop wittering on about myself. There are actually some ground rules for today, and I'll just get the next slide up and we'll discuss them. So before we do our ground rules, I'll let you know what our plan for today is. We're going to do some live journaling together. Yeah, you can see it in the chat box, Ali. I put it in, and so did David. And thank you, Ellen. Welcome. This is Ellen's first Zoom conference, so well done for managing to get in. I actually couldn't get in this morning, so you're doing better than me. Okay. Our plan for today is this is a live journaling together, and it's set up yourself to blast through your to-do list. It focuses on both the strategy and mindset. If there are any questions as we go along, please feel free to type them in the chat box. Sorry, I've got a bad back, and I've actually just discovered that I can, this is a Microsoft Office Pro, and I've discovered you can use it as a tablet and a laptop at the same time. So that's making my life a lot easier, but I have a bad back, and at the moment everything's taking forever. So apologies if I'm a little bit slow. Okay. So there are some guidelines for today. Just because this is a bit different to your normal webinar, it's a workshop, so and we'll not be sharing today on my course Journey to the Self for Entrepreneurs. We do invite sharing, but because we don't know each other yet, I didn't think it was appropriate to share. So I'll just go through the guidelines. Yeah, confidentiality. So don't share what anybody else has said, only with their permission. So you don't know each other. So I will at certain times maybe ask to unmute, and we'll share about how it's gone. So if when people are sharing, please don't repeat what they've shared. It's fine to do it with their permission. So if you come on to my course, Journal to the Self for Entrepreneurs, and get to know the participants, you can ask their permission. But for today, please don't share what anybody else has shared. Obviously, this is a recording, but we want to Okay, Tash, happy to discuss today's insights with this group, and we'll be happy to keep others' comments confidential. Thank you. I was just a bit worried because of the recording, but it's sent out to the attendees, so if we just keep it within the attendees. The next guideline is acceptance. So we practice what's called unconditional acceptance. We don't judge anybody or comment on their shares or give them advice. The next guideline is respect. So obviously to have respect with these are just basically common sense really, but it's important that we go over them. So just to teach to treat people with respect and well, you know yourself, you're all in online groups, so like no swearing. Oh, thanks, Tash. Tash said it's lovely to have them mapped out. Thanks, Carol. So no swearing, no making offensive comments. I'm sure you know all. The next one is excellence, and we value each other and believe we're all capable of doing the best we can. And the fourth one is self-management. So we don't go on and on. We only have an hour, and it's we're already almost quarter of the way through. It's almost quarter past. So I want to get started. But basically that means we don't overshare, and I'll be responsible for, we're going to do some timed exercises today. So it's important that we keep to the times, but I'll do all that. I'll be keeping time for us today. So yeah, thanks, Tash. So you don't have to worry about it. What will happen when we do the timed exercises is it will all stay as it is just now, but David will unmute people when I invite them to speak. So we're going to go off and do some timed exercises. So just be aware that if you do leave your PC, we might have finished. So there'll be no alarm, but I'll stay unmuted and I'll just tell you when. I might have to put my microphone off if I'm doing stuff in the background just for the sake of the recording. I don't want a lot of background noise. So without further ado, let's get started. And I'd also like to say that I'll be inviting people to share what they've written. No, sorry, that's a mistake. We discussed, Tash is actually my business coach, and we discussed having sharing, but we decided it wasn't appropriate for this kind of format just because you don't know each other. So I'd also like to add, I want to emphasise we will be inviting feedback, but I want to emphasise that there is no obligation to share what you've written. If you feel what you've written is too, well, this doesn't apply, but if you feel something is too personal, then not sharing is perfectly acceptable. And we don't call on people by name. We'll just have a short pause and people can come in and share and unmute and talk to me if they want about what it is, about how they've found it. So let's get started. I'd like to start you today with an inventory of your important projects for 2018. Write about where you are now, where you want to be, what actions you'll take. I'm sorry, I've had very little sleep last night, so I'm losing my train of thought, so please forgive me. So write about where you are now, where you want to be, and what actions you can take to get there. And I'll have an example which I'll read to you. I actually don't have an example. I was hoping to get it done on time, but what I'll do is I'll stay looking at the chat box, and if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat box, and I'll answer them during the when you go off and write. So I'll be here just answering your questions. I don't actually write during the shares because I need to be available to answer questions and to observe what's going on. Okay. So there'll be 5 minutes for this. And I'll leave this slide up just so you can see what it is you're doing. So I'll just go over it again. You make an inventory, so a short list of projects you have in your life. Once you've got that inventory, you write about where it is you want to be. Then you write about where you want to go. And finally, you write what actions you can take. So we've got 5 minutes, so let's start writing. And I'll let you know when time's up. Thank you. We've got 1 minute left, everybody. Okay, great, Ellen. We're just about to stop. Okay, so time's up, everybody. What I'd like you to do now is we'll have some sharing about how you found that. So if anybody wants to unmute, David will unmute you and we can have a chat. There are no cameras here, okay, Tash, go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, I think I've just got a bit of feedback. There we go. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So actually for me, it was really interesting because it took me almost the whole 5 minutes just to write down the major projects.
Yeah.
So like my first insight was I have a lot of major, what I consider major projects, but then also when I wrote down where I am now, a lot of it is waiting. Like I'm waiting for another project to finish, or like I've got a lot of health stuff that I'm working on at the moment. And once I've got that working, then there's other things that I want to do. And I actually found it easier to, once I started writing, I was like, oh, all of those are health related. Then all of those are the house and my relationship. And then all of those are my business. So it was really interesting. It just kind of, my first insight was, I'm so busy right now. And I didn't even get to the point of like, what actions can I take to get there? Because there's just so many things. So like that was an insight in itself. I'm probably overloading myself. So that was really interesting.
Yeah, some of that is a setup issue to do with the workshops. I've actually done this technique with in the Wildly Successful Society last week, and we actually just focused on the inventory itself. That was all we did for the whole hour. So
yeah, I can see how you could spend a long time, like even just doing the inventory. But actually, it was really nice to have that limit of the time, because it did actually make me then consider, like, well, where do I want to be, and how can I be moving all of these projects at once? Like, I'm not going to be able to. So yeah, that was just really interesting kind of insight that came just from that little 5-minute exercise. So thank you.
And it might be worth, after this, you'll obviously get a copy of the recording, so it might be worth, after this, re-listening to it, and I can send you a copy of the slides and you can just take some more time to complete the questions afterwards.
Awesome. Yeah, I will rewatch the recording. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on. Okay, no problem, Ellen. As I said, nobody's under any obligation to unmute and talk. I'll invite people to, but if you don't want to, that's fine. We're kind of on schedule just now. I haven't looked at my notes. I'll do that on our next writing. We've got 3 today, so I'll do that and see exactly where we are to do with the schedule. But let's crack on. Okay. And we don't need this. So let me just... Okay, so our next technique is called perspectives. And let me just find the place in my notes. So it'll just be 2 seconds. Okay, so next I'd like you to write what's called a perspective inventory. This is where you imagine yourself having successfully completed the projects. So I'll just explain a little about it. What you do is, let me just see the slide. I'll just move the chat box so I can see the slide and explain it to you. Right. You write a future journal entry from the point of view of having successfully completed these projects. So I don't know who's attending here today, but if any of you know Jo Bendel from the Wildly Successful Society, she advises you to write as if it had already happened. So we're going to write a future journal entry from the point of view of having successfully completed these projects. So for the sake of setup, I'd advise you to pick just one project and just do that. Is that clear? Can somebody let me know in the chat box? Yeah, okay, that's great. So again, we'll have 5 minutes for this, and I'll let you know when you've got 1 minute left. And in the meantime, I'll just see that we're on track for time. So your 5 minutes begins now. Hi everybody, we've got 1 minute left. Okay, that's great. Thanks for letting me know, Ellen. Let's close it up there. You actually had, sorry, not close it up there. Let's finish that technique there. You actually had a wee bit longer than a minute, than 5 minutes. So thanks for letting me know that you'd finished. So does anybody want to, David, I'll unmute you again if you want to have a word. It went very fast. Okay. Yeah. That it does take. It does go very fast when you're doing an exercise like this, and I would advise you to get the recording and do it again. Tash says, I felt the same, Ali. We'll definitely sit down and give it a bit more time after we've finished. Ellen, I think Tash was right, having a set time. So I've actually checked the schedule and we're a bit ahead of time, but let's crack on so there's plenty of time for questions. And I think, okay, Ali, go on. Do you want to unmute and talk to me? So Ali said, no, okay, no problem. In a busy place. Okay, maybe we'll talk at the end. Okay, so let's move on to the final technique for today. Let me just get it up. I'd actually packed too much into this, so there's some slides that aren't relevant. So hopefully you can see that. Okay. Oh, thanks, Ellen. Ellen had just said, I think it's great. So let me just find where we are in my notes. So I'd like to finish off the workshop with a dialogue. So a dialogue is a two-way exchange between two people. Dialogues are handy when you want to get answers. It can take a while to get into a dialogue, but stick with it and it will flow. I'd like you to dialogue with yourself having completed just one of these projects, because as everybody is saying, the time is going really fast, so we don't have time to go into all of them. Ask questions about how you face the challenges and triumphs of these projects. So let's just go over what we're doing once again. So it's write a dialogue between you and your future self who successfully completed the project, and ask about any triumphs and challenges, and we actually have 10 minutes for this. So you've got a bit more time, and I'll let you know when we have 1 minute. I'll be here in the chat box answering questions, but I'll be on mute just so that for the sake of the recording. Okay, thanks. Everybody seems to be looking forward to this one. It's one of my favourites too. So let's get started, and it's 9:42, so you have until 9:52. So I'll let you know when we've got 1 minute to go. So let's get started. Hi everybody, we've actually run out of time. So I'll give you an extra minute just to finish up. Oh, Tash says, wow, that was very insightful. Do you want to talk to me, Tash? Tash says, no, I just really enjoyed it. Got a lot of insights about how I might be stopping myself. Yeah. Yeah, Ali says the same. I'll just wait a minute for anybody to finish up because that's time up now. So if you'd like to just finish up, please. Ali said, I got lots about what I can do to prevent pitfalls. Yes, it is very insightful. We'll not do any more talking to me because let me just get my script, please. So because we're actually finished the journaling workshop now,